Rob, we had the drama at Gloucester, we had the drama in France, now we've got the drama at Worcester.
I always say to the boys, what we're not going to do is get on a roller coaster of emotions, and I had my kind of speech already that, you know, we'd come here, we maybe would have been disappointed with the result, but at times we went for it, and you just got to take it on the chin. I thought Worcester brought a massive amount to the game today. You know, I think in some way they'll be disappointed obviously with the result, but obviously I think they'll also be pleased with some of the things they did here today. I've got to give them great credit. You know, they put us under a good deal of pressure at times, forced us into conceding some penalties that ultimately nearly won them the game. You know, we obviously had a little bit of lack of discipline as well, and that's a little bit disappointing because we did talk about it at length this week, that we felt discipline was a key area because that would potentially let Worcester into the game. But you can't take away the fact that they create some of those penalties by putting us under pressure, so that's a great credit to them. And I'd rather kind of give them credit for a good game of rugby than say that we didn't perform and that we had to snatch the game back, because that would be a little unfair on what happened here today. I think we showed at times that we could really hurt Worcester and get after them, and we did that when we scored tries. And I think we probably only really showed our almost full repertoire of how we can attack in the dying minutes when we really had to, because we played some outstanding rugby then. You know, when you're playing length of the pitch stuff and you can't make one mistake and you score a try, that's an incredible passage of play. And I've got to credit the guys, you know, immensely. That physically they were capable to do it, but also the mental resolve to be there at the end and to keep wanting to fight and to try and win the game. You know, we could have easily taken a losing bonus point here today. That would have pretty much guaranteed us Heineken Cup Rugby. You know, Northampton losing would have still been close with them, so everything would have been there for us. And yet we fought and we fought and we fought. We went after the win and we got it. And that's a bit of a testament to where these guys are mentally at the minute.
Obviously, you've secured Heineken Cup now. The 4th place. Do you dare to dream now of something a little bit more?
Well, it's not a dream though, is it? So it's not about dreaming. It's about us having a real good training week now, preparing as well as we can for what's going to be one hell of a game. Because, you know, Northampton aren't going to turn up at Sandy Park on Sunday with anything else on their mind blowing us away. You know, that's the truth. That's how they'll prepare, and we've got to be ready for that. And we'll get ready for it by making sure we're going after the game and trying to make it about us. You know, the top 4 spot is there pretty much for whoever wins the game. You know, any kind of win really, I think probably, you know, I'm not sure of how the scores have turned out today. You know, I've only heard vague things, but I think any kind of win for us today probably means we've done it really. And that would be a fantastic position for a semi-final. But you know, I've kind of got the feeling if Northampton come to Sandy Park and win, they'll deserve to be there, because you know, if you perform well at this stage of the season, you get what you earn. On the other flip side, you know, if we turn over Northampton at Sandy Park, well, we'll deserve to be there. So you know, it's a great game to be involved in, and that's what we're going to just keep saying to players. They're great games to be involved in. You've got to go after them. We weren't great today, but we've turned over a side who play well at home in the Premiership, and that still takes some doing.
When you look behind, it's died down a little bit now, but 5 minutes ago here it was rocking with Chiefs fans with the tomahawk chop and that. They've enjoyed the adventure just as much. Yeah,
well, I think they've enjoyed it. They've enjoyed the last few seconds of the game and then the aftermath, I think, more than probably the game. I mean, a little bit of a shame that we didn't play a bit more like we did in that closing period for longer periods in the game, because I think we could have really got these guys behind us and got some real atmosphere rocking, and that would have probably driven us forward. But we had the 2 yellow cards, you know, one straight after the other. I thought we actually got through that period pretty well, although we were conceding penalties. But, you know, and we dealt with it, and then we've come back. So, you know, as long as we learn from today, you know, the key for us is to learn from some of the discipline issues, because you can't afford to give them up in Premiership games and win. But we've come through, so you know, we'll take the win, and it's all you can do. You know, 5 points away from home takes some achieving, and we've done it today.
Your bench made a difference when they came on again, like they have in recent weeks. In particular, Brett Sturgess, 100th league.
Yeah, I mean, the bench made a difference once we played how we said we were going to play. You know, they weren't making much difference when we were kicking the ball away and on the defensive. You know, once we played like we said we were going to play, you know, they made a great difference. You know, I thought Gareth, you know, added a bit of direction, a bit of go forward, and a bit of movement which is exactly what we asked him to do. You know, Ali carried well. Sturgess, you know, flew around the pitch like he does, like a wild thing. You know, and you know, Ben White carried well. Front row got on the front foot for us, you know, and we added a real injection of power and energy when we really needed it, and you know, and we've come through a tough game. You know, Sorelli, the big man, what can you say? You know, to come on and have that kind of an impact, you know, not just by scoring the try, but you know, the actual impact, the impact of the carries earlier in the phases and what he did. So you know, we've done well here today, and we've done it with a form guy like Jason Schumacher dropping out, and we've done it with a couple of guys returning from injury for the first time for long breaks, like Luke and like Sturgess. You know, and it's important that those guys are back in there and getting up to speed. You
mentioned Sturgess, like I say, it was his 100th league appearance. He's been a great servant for the club, hasn't he?
Oh, he's fantastic. You know, he loves it. He just loves it. I mean, the hardest thing while he's had his broken arm is to stop him contact training. You know, he's wanted to be back in contact training for the last 3 weeks. You know, but that's what he's like. So it's been holding him back. That's been the hard thing. You know, he's worked incredibly hard. You know, I know how hard he's worked because every time he's done a session, he's put his head around the coach's office, dripping with sweat, telling me how hard he's working. But you know, he's that kind of a character. He's desperate to be back involved with the lads, desperate to be out on the pitch. But we've got a lot of guys like that. We've got a lot of guys like that. You know, and I think he just epitomises what's going through the club at the minute.
Brilliant. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks very much.